Hello and welcome to my video. Happy marriages, debunk MGTOW. Unhappy marriages, debunk anti-MGTOW. Now firstly, I'm sure we've all seen the surveys that state when they're surveying the happiness of a marriage, they'll survey it at one point, and then in 5 to 10 years time that all the marriages have become happy. And then they've simply concluded, well, marriages must get better with time. And the more cynical of us have stated it's more like they've accepted they've come to terms with their prison sentence. They can't get out without the cost being too high. So, like most people, they've made the most of it. Now, personally, I think any surveys on happiness, when you're talking about a general population, are flawed from their inception. Because the thing with happiness, in my experience, it's only ever like a temporary state. Because let's say this year I've been super happy. However, it's not going to be continuous. And if people are just answering surveys, how honestly are they going to answer? Isn't happiness extremely subjective? So I can't really see how you can fully quantify such a thing, like are you happy in your marriage? And also, are every willing participant in the studies, are they fully able to be completely honest? Things are much more complicated than that. There may be many aspects of their marriage they're happy with, and then there may be many aspects that they're very unhappy with. And then overall, they're like, I guess I'm happy, or I suppose I'm happy, or this is better than the alternative for me at my present time. Now, I have seen it said that happy marriages in some way, shape or form debunk MGTOW. Now, firstly, I always find this quite amusing. But secondly, let's look at the people who are happily married. Is the woman over the age of 30 and 35 and hit the wall? And the most important thing, what generation are you talking about? Because in my observation, the later the generation, the more likely they are to be married. And then I honestly think it's very debatable how happily married they are. And with marriage, I always simply weigh up, okay, let's say there's some happily married people out there. Of course, I can observe those. But how many unhappy people through marriage? Are there people who are unhappily married, in sexless marriages, divorced? So they're probably not very happy, depending on if they lost the kids. And the most important thing, which to be honest, it throws a sledgehammer at the happily married argument. How many marriages have castrated men? Now, I don't know if there's been a study, and again, who would honestly admit that? If there was a study, oh, I see you're married. Are you castrated? Do you have no balls? Does the wife control many aspects of your life? Can you not even see your friends? Are you routinely subjected to scrutinism for every single thing that you do? And how many times have you seen a man in public just getting absolutely berated by his wife? And I compare that to the number of times I've seen a woman getting berated in public, and the ratio is at least 3 to 1 in favour of men getting berated, if not higher. And when I talk about the question of marriage, you need to do a time. So it's no good looking at the past and say like, oh, well, those people who are in their 60s are happily married. That'll happen for me. It's like, well no, I'll be marrying like a millennial or the generation after the baby boomers. And not to be too rude to them, but they're a lot more promiscuous. And promiscuity doesn't lead well to long, happy marriages. And then, of course, with the current systems we have in the West, legally incentivized hypergamy. if you get a divorce, they tell the women, well, if you get a divorce, you get money. There's no cost, there's no risks. You can easily find another man, and with all the extra money, you're in no rush to find an extra man. So you're absolutely fine. And anecdotally, I know more divorcees or divorced people than I know happily married people. And I said, out of those happily married, it's I hate to think the number of them are they're just castrated men. So it's really hard. In all honesty, I think I knew two which were happily married, and again, those because they were in their 70s, and the man was alpha as fuck, and the woman, she was like, yeah, I quite like this. Oh, well, one thing which was really funny about the guy is he was only 4'3". So he had like the worst case of short man syndrome you've ever seen in your life. But he's just so fucking alpha. He just couldn't give a fuck. He'd chat shit to everyone in their face. It was so funny. He's like, I couldn't give a fuck how big you are. If you're doing something wrong, I'll call you out on it straight away. And he didn't take no prisoners. And he actually was quite successful in his life. And at one point he was managing 100 people. So he earned quite a few pennies and retired quite happily. Now, to quickly play devil's advocate, perhaps if you want to be a castrated male within marriage, then you're going to be very happy. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all the castrated men are really happy that they're bitches to their wives. I remember I was working with two women who were in their late 40s, and they used to always tell me, they used to chant this like a mantra: we like our tea strong and our men weak. And I said to them, like, so you like to control your man's life? They're like, yeah, definitely. And I was thinking, what the fuck? Like, why would any man put up with that? But then, what choice do they have? Get divorced, losing all their money? And for me, being the outsider of castrated men, I'm like, I just don't want to put myself in that position. Thank you for listening, watching, and goodbye.